Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Knife Chats with Tobias. If you've watched the channel for a while, you may be looking at this knife going, I could have sworn he's shown this knife before. And you would be right, as well as you would be wrong. This is a new knife from Marbles, and it is known as the exhibition grade series from Marbles. And what I picked up was the extra large toothpick by them, and this wonderful gunstock jig bone. And it is a beautiful looking knife, but you have seen something very similar to it in the past, and that is the Winchester Collector's Edition pocket knives. And look at how close those two knives look, especially the bone. I mean, it's almost nearly identical. Now, the funny thing is when I first showed this knife, the Winchester, I actually commented, I sure hope that Marbles or Rough Rider or somebody comes out with this again, because this is a really nice knife. And when I picked it up from Winchester, well, it was like in the waning days, it's not going to show up again and everything else. It was like a one and done. And so I was really happy to grab it from Winchester, but I'm just as happy to have it from Marbles, even though they look nearly identical, with the exception of the bullet. If you notice, well, actually the cartridge, one of them has Winchester, the other one has Marbles on there for the cartridge. Same size shield, exactly the same size shield. Everything about these knives is the same. So we'll just look at the Marbles right now. Actually, everything is not exactly the same. The only real difference between the two, and I'll say that right now and get it over with, is the pull on the blade. The pull on the blade on the Winchester knife is a little lighter than the pull on the blade on the Marbles knife. The Marbles knife has a tighter pivot, and actually I think more people are going to approve of the pivot on the Marbles knife more so than the Winchester, if you happen to have the Winchester. Because this is right in really what a lot of people like. It's right there around between 4.5, 5.5. You could call this a 5. It's right there smack dab in the middle. Really good action on it. This one is a little more bouncy because it is so light. This is right there around 3.5, 4. It's a much lighter pull. I like them both, but this one feels how would you say, a little more confident. I think that's the way you could say it, but you can see there, you can see there. Very much all the same. So if you thought these were pretty well made, you're not going to be disappointed in these. These are also quite well made. Very little gapping going on. Beautiful bone. Look at the jigging on that bone. And this portion here, where it's smooth, is just fantastic. You cannot, well, you can feel the pins a little bit in the jigging. This is smooth and flush. No real gap here, no gap here, no gapping around with that bone at all. You got some really nice deep grooves into the nickel silver. You've got the pinch on the top of the bolster. You have the pinch at the very bottom of the powder horn down here, and then the two rings on there too. And a really nice looking blade here with the swedge, really nicely defined swedge. You've got the nice match strike pull, almost jabbed myself there, and then the nice saber grind going the whole length there. And it's just a wonderful knife. This is the like I said, it's the Marbles exhibition grade. What do they have it? The MR680 is the number on there. Now, also, while I'm at it, let's take a look at the two boxes. So you see the boxes here, Winchester and Marbles. On the back side of both of them, Winchester trademark, marbles for every hour in the field there. And then the sides, the Winchester box has a lot more markings on both ends here. See the difference there. But then at the very front, you've got collector's edition pocket knife. And then on the lids, there's your Winchester lid. Let me lift the camera up a bit. There's the Winchester lid. And there's the marbles lid. So both beautiful boxes though. All in all, just really terrific boxes. Now, as you can see in this Winchester box, I removed the foam that was in here. The foam was identical to what you see here, but I pulled the foam out of it so that I could basically use the box for storing things, because it's basically a small cigar box. So that's pretty cool too. I will probably end up doing that with this box too, simply so that I can store additional knives in the box. I don't need to keep the box exactly as is. One of the main reason is because, well, I got another one also, as you can see. That's the way, you know, it'll look like when you get it, except this will be in a plastic bag. But you know, to me, these boxes are really good for storing things, and I'd much rather store 4 or 5 knives in a box instead of just one knife in the box. Also, the other thing I wanted to point out on this is, so here's the Winchester and there's the marbles. You can see they're nearly identical in every way, shape, and form. Now, Winchester is, I believe it is owned by Bluegrass Cutlery. Bluegrass Cutlery owns the trademark for it. And marbles, the trademark for marbles is, I believe, Blue Ridge Cutlery. 2 different companies, Bluegrass, Blue Ridge. I get them confused all the time. But for some reason, I have a feeling that both of these knives were made in the Smoky Mountain Knife Works factory, where Rough Rider knives are made. And the reason I think that is because the folks at SMKW have actually come right out and said that they make the Chinese-made knives for marbles in their Rough Rider factory. So there's a very good chance that this was also made in the Rough Rider factory, the Winchester knives. And so were these outsourced from Bluegrass to Blue Ridge to have them made? I don't know. What I do know is they are the exact same knife. I would not be surprised to find that this knife that was made in China might have also been made by Parker at one time, or maybe Frost in the past. And I just haven't run across one of their jumbo toothpicks. Because the knife itself, we'll just stick with the marbles for right now, the knife itself is built off of a frame that has been around for quite some time. Because if we take a look at this knife, this is the the Case Jumbo toothpick. If we match that up side by side, not the blade, as you can tell, the blade is distinctly different. This is a typical Case, very long Turkish clip blade that they put on their toothpicks. But the frame, the 5.5-inch frame, is darn near identical to the marbles. I mean, look at that. It just completely hides. It is the exact same size in every shape and form. The fit on the handle, everything is the same as what you have on the Case. And more to the point, it falls into the Shatton Morgan also. has the same slight curve here, the same powder horn shape, everything. This one even has a blade a little closer to what you have on the marbles and also on the Winchester. But the frame is the exact same frame, almost identical in every way. This one even has the same pinch at the top. The difference is you got 3 rings. The only difference really is no pinch at the bottom here. The case has a much plainer bolsters on both ends, which is typical of case knives. And most people believe that this case jumbo toothpick or extra large toothpick, it's like I said, a 5.5-inch frame. Most people believe that these were made by Queen. Queen Cutlery made these. Shatton Morgan knives were also made by Queen Cutlery. This is back in the days of Servotronics, and also I believe even in the days of Daniel family owning Shatton Morgan. These knives, you know, they were using the tooling from Queen to make these knives. But somewhere along the line, either Blue Ridge or most likely Blue Ridge or possibly Bluegrass Cutlery got a hold of the frames as well, the tooling, and had it outsourced to China. The cool thing though is a lot of the old Queen tooling is now owned by Bluegrass Cutlery, the folks who give us the Weed Knife Company. They are owned by Bluegrass Cutlery in Ohio. Is it right? I think that's right, Ohio. Or are they? Yeah, I think they're in Ohio. In any case, they also own the Shatton Morgan trademark. So who knows, maybe we will see these large toothpicks show up again. And by the way, Shatton Morgan referred to these as daddy toothpicks. They called it the daddy toothpick. So we might see these pop up again from Shatton Morgan, or maybe in the Weed Knife Company. I don't know. It would be cool if they did. But the as it is right now, though, we do have marbles making them. And that's pretty cool. I really like the way this one looks. You know, yeah, it's a spitting image of what Winchester did with it before, but the cool thing about it to me is that Marbles and SMKW basically, or Marbles and Blue Ridge, whatever way you want to look at it, decided that it was worth the effort to try a toothpick on this frame and see how well it sells. And I'm hoping it sells well enough that Marbles, and hopefully in the near future Rough Rider, decides to make the jump and start making more of these jumbo toothpicks, because this really looks a whole lot better than these. Now this is just the 5-inch. This is the large toothpick, which is my favorites. I really do like those. But well, look at these side by side. This is the new Marbles green jig bone with a wonderful shield on there. I love the little moose shield. See that? But can you imagine like a green jig bone with the moose shield? Or could you imagine this? Imagine this with like a brass spacer there, and then pearl on either side. Would that not look beautiful? Could you imagine that? Or nickel silver spacer here, nickel silver bolsters, pearl here, pearl over there. That would look great. That would be just fantastic. I can see something like that, and that would be, you know, a beautiful knife to carry. But also just if you were to do white smooth bone on either side with a nickel silver spacer there, or to have turquoise with a band going through the middle, or even just solid bone like you have here on the Shatton Morgan. Could you imagine this in a bone stag, a nice bone stag? That would be cool too. So I could imagine quite a few things with the frame of this Daddy Toothpick. So, and this blade really looks good, and it's got some thickness to it, so it feels like a proper blade for definitely for poking and everything else. Talk about just a fantastic little steak knife. This thing is going to be a beauty of a knife. So I'm really happy to see that they came out with it. And well, I've already got 2. I will probably be getting a few more, and I can picture somehow buying so many of them that I finally decide maybe, just maybe, I could give one away. But oh man, but there you have it, compared to a 5-inch toothpick. Just look at this difference in size there. That 1/2 inch makes all the difference in the world. Anyway, thought I'd share that with you. Stick around for some pictures. I'll compare the boxes again and compare all these other knives in the slideshow. Hope you enjoyed that. I'm just so excited to see this. Oh, and yeah, by the way, there are other knives in the exhibition grade by Marbles, but really, seriously, do you really need to look farther than a toothpick? Let me take just a second to thank you once again for dropping by and spending a few minutes here at Knife Chats with the Pious. I really do appreciate it, and I do appreciate any comments that you leave. So please remember to give me that thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know when the next episode is up and running. Thanks again for dropping by. Really do appreciate your time here.